My name is Jennifer, and I've always had a passion for theater. As an aspiring actress, I spent countless hours in various theaters, both performing and volunteering behind the scenes. But nothing could have prepared me for the haunting experience I encountered at the old theater in Winnipeg. The theater, once a grand venue in the heart of the city, had fallen into disrepair over the years. Despite its dilapidated state, it still held a certain charm and mystique that drew me in. I had heard whispers of strange occurrences and ghostly apparitions, but I brushed them off as mere rumors. One evening, I was helping a friend set up for a small production. We were the only ones in the building, the silence broken only by the occasional creak of the floorboards and the rustling of old curtains. As I moved through the dimly lit corridors, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. It started with small things, a flicker of movement out of the corner of my eye, a chill in the air, and the faint sound of footsteps echoing through the empty halls. I tried to ignore it, focusing on the task at hand, but the sense of unease grew stronger with each passing minute. As we worked late into the night, my friend decided to take a break and stepped outside for some fresh air. I stayed behind, organizing props in the backstage area. That's when I saw her. A woman in a white dress, her head missing, wandered aimlessly through the shadows. Her form was faint, almost ethereal, but there was no mistaking the bulging belly of a pregnant woman. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest as she moved closer. Her presence filled the room with a bone-chilling cold, and I felt an overwhelming sense of sorrow and despair. I wanted to run, to scream, but I was rooted to the spot, unable to look away. She stopped in front of me, her empty neck tilting as if she were trying to make eye contact. Then she vanished, leaving me trembling and gasping for breath. My friend returned moments later, and I frantically told him what I had seen. He looked at me with a mixture of concern and disbelief, but he could see the fear in my eyes. We decided to call it a night and left the theater, but the image of the headless woman haunted me. I couldn't get her out of my mind, and I knew I had to find out more about her. The next day, I visited the local library and began researching the theater's history. It was there that I discovered the tragic story of Claire, a young actress who had performed at the theater in the 1920s. She had fallen in love with a wealthy businessman, and their affair had resulted in a pregnancy. When her lover discovered she was with child, he abandoned her, leaving her destitute and desperate. Claire had continued to perform, hoping to win back his affection, but her efforts were in vain. One fateful night, she went into labor during a performance and tragically died on stage. In a cruel twist of fate, a set piece fell and decapitated her. Her spirit had been restless ever since, wandering the theater, searching for peace. Armed with this knowledge, I knew I had to help Claire find rest. I shared my findings with my friend, who reluctantly agreed to join me in another visit to the theater. We planned to conduct a séance, hoping to communicate with Claire and understand what she needed. We returned to the theater late one night, bringing with us candles, a Ouija board, and a recording device. The air was thick with tension as we set up in the center of the stage, the very place where Claire had met her tragic end. The flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows on the crumbling walls, and the silence was almost deafening. We began the séance, placing our hands on the Ouija board's planchette. "Claire, if you are here with us, please give us a sign," I called out, my voice trembling. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the temperature dropped sharply, and we felt a cold breeze sweep through the room. The planchette began to move slowly, spelling out a single word: help. "How can we help you, Claire?" I asked, my heart pounding. The planchette moved again, spelling out, "Find my baby." Tears welled up in my eyes as I realized the depth of her sorrow. Claire's spirit was trapped, unable to find peace until she knew what had happened to her child. I promised her that we would do everything we could to uncover the truth. Our investigation led us to old records and newspaper articles from the 1920s. We discovered that Claire's baby had been taken to an orphanage shortly after her death. The child had grown up and lived a relatively normal life, unaware of the tragic circumstances of their birth. We traced the child's lineage and found that Claire's great-granddaughter, Emily, was still living in Winnipeg. We contacted her, explaining the situation and hoping she would be willing to help. Emily was understandably shocked and skeptical at first, but she agreed to meet us at the theater. We brought her to the stage and explained what we had learned. With Emily's presence, we conducted another séance, hoping to bring Claire the peace she so desperately needed. As we began, the temperature dropped once more and the candles flickered. The planchette moved swiftly, spelling out, "Thank you." Emily spoke softly, her voice filled with emotion. "Great-grandmother, it's me, Emily. Your baby was taken care of and lived a good life. We remember you and your sacrifice." The atmosphere in the theater shifted, the oppressive sorrow lifting. A faint, glowing light appeared on the stage, and we saw Claire's apparition once more. This time she looked different, calmer, almost peaceful. She reached out toward Emily, her form shimmering. "Thank you." Claire's voice echoed softly in the room. "I can rest now." With that, her spirit faded, the light dimming until it was gone. The theater fell silent, but the air felt different, lighter, as if a great weight had been lifted. Emily, my friend, and I stood in awe, tears streaming down our faces. The experience left a profound impact on all of us. Emily and I stayed in touch, and we became close friends, bonded by the extraordinary events we had witnessed. The theater, once a place of sorrow and despair, became a symbol of redemption and peace, and I continued my work in theater, but with a renewed sense of purpose. I knew that there were stories left untold, spirits in need of help, and I was determined to uncover them. The haunting of the Winnipeg Theater had shown me the power of compassion, understanding, and the importance of helping those who cannot help themselves. Claire's story was one of tragedy and heartbreak, but it also became a story of hope and redemption. Her spirit found peace, and her memory lived on through her family and those of us who had the privilege of helping her. The Winnipeg Theater, now restored and thriving, stands as a testament to the power of love and the human spirit. And for me, it serves as a constant reminder that even in the darkest of places, there is always a chance for light to shine through.